everyone. It's Frank Song, founder of Modern Career Advice here. And I'm sure the reason why you're here is because you, like everyone else, is very curious as to how we're able to generate the track record that we do. Specifically, I get asked a lot about how we're able to, on average, increase people's pay by $31,673 from what they were making last year, okay? And the problem is that a lot of people truly misunderstand that statistic, okay? Like, people think that I just magically wave my hand at my choosing and make someone an extra 31K, okay? Like, my grandma literally thinks that I just take people sitting on a couch eating potato chips and magically get them offers from Google or Facebook and Goldman and Sachs, right? And another big problem is that people also often confuse us with career coaches or career consultants and things like that, which is also very, very, very wrong, all right? And on surface level, it looks like what we do is the same thing, but what we actually do over here at Modern Career Advice is completely different, okay? So it's very important to understand what we truly do if you want to understand the proper techniques and strategies and generate these same results in your own career, okay? So to understand what we truly do, you have to understand the fundamental postulate and thesis of what drives our strategies, which is this: a career is truly a financial asset, okay? It exemplifies the same characteristic of a financial asset. For example, assets can be bought and sold in a market with buyers and sellers. Your skills, knowledge, and time can be bought by a company and sold by you, right? And not to get too technical here, but assets generally produce cash flow years into the future so that you can discount that cash flow to present value, right? Your career will produce cash flow years into the future so you can discount all of your future earnings to determine a present value, right? And last, assets have real value so that you can borrow against it and or lend it out and receive cash, right? Same thing here. You can borrow money from people and institutions and back it with the cash flow that you're going to produce from your asset known as your career, and or you can lend it out to others and receive cash for it, okay? Your career actually exemplifies the exact same characteristics of when you buy an investment property, okay? It is no different than if you were to buy a house and rent it out to somebody and receive cash for it every single year that it's rented, all right? That's no different than your career, where you rent out your skills, your knowledge, your capability, and your time and receive cash for it every single year. It just so happens that this happens to be a bit of a more of an active asset class than the other, okay? Now that you understand that a career is truly a financial asset, the following logic tree now splits into the question of, is the market for this asset an efficient or inefficient market, okay? Inefficient markets, for example, like the stock market, there are a ton of buyers and sellers, okay? These are highly liquid markets, so assets get bought and sold very often, in this case, multiple times a second, right? Third is, there's a ton of information available to both buyers and sellers to allow them to make educated decisions. Like in the stock market, the companies must release information by law so that buyers and sellers have the same information, and there's people who spend their whole lives writing reports about just one company, right? And fourth is, there's a low transaction cost, okay? The cost to buy or sell a stock is anywhere between $2.50 to $10, right? And fifth is, most importantly, the balance of power in the market is relatively equal, okay? Both buyers and sellers are powerful in this market. Now, with that being the understanding, now we have to understand that there are really two kinds of value, okay? The first is intrinsic value, okay? Intrinsic value is the true underlying value of what something is worth, okay? Now, the second kind of value is called market value. And market value is the price that the market is currently willing to pay for that asset, okay? Now, what's very, very interesting in highly efficient markets is that market value, the price that people are willing to pay in the market, is generally a good reflection of the true intrinsic value of the asset, okay? Said differently, in efficient markets, people are right now paying the price of what something is really worth, okay? That's why it's so difficult to make money in the stock market and why it's hard to find undervalued companies, okay? Now, converse this to the other side of the spectrum, which are highly inefficient markets, right? For example, the job market, right? 1, there are few buyers and sellers of your skills, okay? 2, it is a very illiquid market. You don't switch jobs, companies every day, multiple times a day, right? 3rd is there is very little information available to both buyers and sellers, and huge asymmetric information gaps exist, right? 4th is there are high transaction costs associated with buying and selling this asset, right? The average cost to recruit, hire, and train is $4,000. And last is the balance of power in this market, in the job market, is very unequal, okay? Where companies who are the buyers have way more power in the market than you and I as job seekers, okay? So what ends up happening in highly inefficient markets is something really interesting, is that the market value, the price that people are willing to pay currently in the market, moves away from the true intrinsic value of what it should be worth, okay? Said differently, it is a common occurrence in inefficient markets for people to be underpaid in the job market from what they're truly worth, or get stuck in roles that don't maximize or showcase your capabilities, or be stuck at crappy jobs or companies, or be unemployed for long periods of time, okay? So what I do is I bridge that valuation gap, okay? That's why I don't create $31,000 out of thin air, okay? I don't magically get someone an extra $31,000. The correct statement is that people on average are being undervalued by $31,000, okay? And they deserve to get paid that $31,000 the whole time. I just served as a catalyst to unlock that value, okay? That's why if you look at all the past people who've benefited from our strategies, they all have something in common, okay? One is they did everything they were asked to do in life. They graduated from high school. They graduated from college. They tried hard to look for the job that they deserve. They care about their careers. And there are people who never would have imagined that they were ever going to need career advice and ended up in crappy jobs that are paying them crap in roles that make them wonder why they ever went to college and work at companies where there is no future, okay? Those are the people I serve, okay? The reason is because your intelligence and your drive to succeed took decades upon decades to mold, shape, and create, okay? I can't make somebody more intelligent or more driven overnight, okay? I can't change your intrinsic value. That took a long time. However, if somebody who's done everything they've been asked to do in life, who's worked hard, cares about the career, and is being arbitrarily and unfairly undervalued because of the inefficient market forces, well, that's a problem that I can solve, and what you're going to learn how to solve, okay? That's the huge difference between what we do and what career coaches, resume writers, and career consultants do, okay? Career coaches, resume writers, and career consultants, their end deliverable and objective is to give you a resume or interview advice, right? Like you pay them $500 or something to give you a resume at the end of the day, right? And it doesn't matter who you are, they'll do it for you. Now, that's not what we do. Our end deliverable and objective isn't to help you write a resume or give you interview advice, okay? Our end deliverable and objective is to solve that valuation gap, okay? And get you from your current market value where you're being undervalued to your intrinsic value, okay? And yes, we're going to cover in detail all that resume and interview stuff, but the point is that's not the goal, okay? In fact, writing great resumes and interviews is just a tiny part of what it takes to solve the valuation gap, all right? So everything I'm going to teach you is with a very distinct purpose, which is to create a catalyst to solve that valuation gap and finally get you to the pay and role and the company that you deserve, okay? And along with that, you're going to learn exactly how we're able to get an interview at 1 out of every 4 companies we apply to and win an offer from 4 out of every 6 companies that we interview at, and how to land offers for roles, companies, and pay packages that you otherwise wouldn't have without these strategies, okay?